Skewed application is that in which the mean deviates from the peak of the distribution. In the field of statistics, a data distribution used to study values belonging to a larger population or sample. A population is a large group of items with some similarity between them. Whenever such a distribution is studied, several unique characteristics can be attributed to each distribution. One such characteristic is a symmetry of distribution. The symmetry shows how the values of population are arranged around the measures of central tendency, such as the mean, median, or mode. The measures of central tendency are used as a representative of an entire group of values. The mean is simply the average of all values in the population or sample. The median is the middle value in the distribution such that there are an equal number of values both to its left and right side. The mode is the value which occurs the most numbers of items. A symmetric distribution is one in which the mean, median, and mode coincide with each other, and the two halves of the distribution are mirror image of each other. Practically, it is difficult to encounter a symmetric distribution. The distribution most commonly observed are symmetric or skewed distribution.
What is a symmetric distribution? So a symmetric distribution is a type of distribution where the left side of the distribution mirrors the right side. By definition, a symmetric distribution is never skewed distribution. This should be intuitive. So try and draw lines of symmetry through a skid. What is a normal distribution? So the proper term for a probability bell curve is the normal distribution. The mean is 0 and the standard deviation is 1. Normal distributions are symmetrical, but not all symmetrical distributions are normal. In reality, most pricing distributions are not perfectly normal. Also, a normal distribution is symmetric, which means it is a unimodal distribution that has only one peak. Distributions don't have to be unimodal to be symmetric. They can be bimodal or two peaks from the word itself bimodal. Bi means two, which means the bimodal is two peaks, or multimodal, which means many peaks. In symmetric distribution, the mean, mode, and median all fall at the same point. The mode is the most common number and it matches with the highest peak. But sometimes an exception is the bimodal distribution. So the mean and median are still in the center, but there are two modes, one on each peak. There are other symmetric distributions. So the normal distribution is the symmetric distribution. However, there are other distributions that display symmetry. So the first one is bimodal distribution. It can be symmetrical if two peaks are mirror images. Second one is Cauchy distributions, having symmetry but unlikely to come across, and it is a family of distributions where the expected value doesn't exist. The third one is logistic distribution. So it has long tails, and the logistic and Cauchy distribution are used if the data is symmetric, but there are more extreme values than you would expect to find a normal distribution. The fifth one is the uniform distribution. It is also symmetric, but the probabilities are exactly the same at each point. So the distribution is basically a straight line. An example of a uniform probability distribution could be picking a card from a deck, and the probability of picking any card is the same, 1 over 52.
Right skew distributions are also called positive skew distributions. That's because there is a long tail in the positive direction on the number line. The mean is also to the right of the peak. The normal distribution is the most common distribution you'll came over. If skewness is positive, the data are positively skewed or skewed right, meaning that the right tail of the distribution is longer than the left. Data that is positively skewed has a long tail that extends to the right.
In statistics, a positively skewed application is a type of application in which most values are clustered around the left tail of the application while the right tail of the application is longer. A positively skewed application is a direct.
The negatively skewed or skewed to the left distribution. The negatively skewed or skewed to the left distribution is a distribution that tapers more to the left than the right. It has longer tail to the left compared to much shorter right tail. The values are more concentrated above than the mean, and the small values in the left tail will make the mean less or lesser than the median. So say for example in the illustration in the next slide. In this slide, the mode is higher than the median and the mean. So the skewed was on the left side, meaning that the center was near the mean. So it is also called or simply called the left skewed or the negative skewness.
Approximately symmetric distribution is the type of distribution where the value of the mean, median, and mode occur at the same time. The graph of the frequency distribution has approximately similar on its tail end. The mean is approximately equal to median. The tails of the distribution are the parts to the left and to the right away from the mean. In a symmetric distribution, the mean, mode, and median all fall at the same point. The mean and median are still at the center, but there are two modes, one on each peak. Here is an example of distribution. An example of a uniform probability distribution could be picking a card from a deck. The probability of picking any one card is the same, 1 over 52. The real-life applications of the concept, when choosing one among many like weight of a canned juice or a bag of cookies, length of bolts and nuts, or height and weight, monthly fishery, and so forth, we can write the probability density function of the variable x as follows. The most obvious way to tell if a distribution is approximately normal is to look at the histogram itself. If the graph is approximately bell-shaped and symmetric about the mean, you can usually assume normality. The normal probability plot is a graphical technique for normality testing.